I'm joined now by George Robinson, CEO of Ravenquest BioMed. George, welcome back.
Always great to be with you, James.
George, I understand you filed a response to the patent infringement claim that was recently made against Ravenquest Bio and your technology.
Yeah, we did. We responded yesterday, and I'm really happy to let everyone know where we're at with it. It's still in the courts, but we filed our response with our claim of no infringement. Further, we've submitted a 350-page document, electronic binder, to the court, further suggesting that Rotogrow's patents are invalid.
Oh, okay. And on what basis do you think that their patents are invalid?
Well, we kind of looked at this, and we knew about this going into this. We've researched this back a couple of years ago, but there is a lot of prior art, and I've been talking about prior art for quite some period of time. Mm-hmm. But if you go back, we see prior art back to 1970, right through the 80s, the 90s. We found 350 some odd representations of claims or patents of prior art in the past. We've actually looked at exactly all the prosecution that went through on Rotogrow filing their claim. With that, we were very well prepared for a response, and like I said, 350 pages, which is going to make this an interesting thing for the courts to review. We feel that we've done an exhaustive review based on our previous research and our near-term research that we've done, and I think cautiously optimistic is the minimum I would suggest, if not better, in how we're going to deal with this claim.
Wow, fantastic. All right, so do you think that that's largely what's been weighing down on the share price? Is this perception in the public that that there is potentially a leg to stand on legally for this other company?
You know, I think you're right there. I think there was some baked in, price compression on the stock once that notice came out. It was we were roughly at just above 20 cents. This came out and we've dropped down and now hovering in at to 10 to 12 cents. So I think there is sort of a foot on the chest of Ravenquest that this will help out relieve some of that pressure off that our shareholders know that we've taken a look at this thing in a very rigorous manner. And we responded rigorously, and we've also taken a very aggressive step back at them and said, "Oh, you've got to defend your own patents."
Right. Oh, okay. George, can you tell me, are there other sort of orbital garden type of devices that would support your idea that, hey, these patents aren't valid because this technology is in use elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting into too much detail, but we did a worldwide search of all the orbital gardens that are currently in place, the ones that has had patents placed against them, the ones that are just out there operating and working without patent claims. We did the research that the prosecutors looked through and their researches of what they seen as patent, but over 29 manufacturers worldwide are making orbital gardens, and they've been doing it since before the 70s. But much of the claims that are out there are really sort of dealing with things that are just prior art, from the way that you remove heat from any type of device to the point of which how you just sort of manage a garden. So 29 manufacturers worldwide, 350 some odd previous claims of patent or notes about patent capabilities that are out there. So this is something that's dealt with prior art, and we feel very comfortable moving forward that this is now in front of the courts, but mostly behind us.
Wow. Okay. In that case, let's talk about the future of Ravenquest Bio. What do you see happening for 2020 that's really going to get the gears spinning for the company and the stock?
Yeah, you know, I spent the last 2 or 3 weeks meeting with many of the large shareholders of Ravenquest. I'm looking for them to see what they would like 2020 to look like for Ravenquest, because really we have many stakeholders: Health Canada, our patients and consumers, and our shareholders. And they were really quite clear to me. They want us to focus on that we are a technology company that grows cannabis. They want us to really push our technologies that we have. They want us to bring them front and forward to the market in 2020 and really find ways of leveraging that part of our conversation, our story with the market, to make sure people understand that we are just not a cannabis growing company, but we've got lots of technologies that we use, we deploy, that makes us an extremely different provider of consulting services, of technologies to many companies. And we can extend that offer now, not only here, but nationally, internationally, and now we're going to now start chasing after the U.S. market.
Sure. You've been making some advances in getting your technology deployed to other locations around the world. How much of the global opportunity do you see accruing to Ravenquest's sort of financials in 2020?
You know, it's a big thing for us right now. We're getting lots of calls from Europe. We've had a couple of calls from Australia, people wanting to use the technology under the same sort of agreements we're working with Cannabis BioCare, which is joint ventures, which we will come in, supply the technology, operate the facility, design the facility, and find the staffing for it. This is becoming a very interesting business model, as I think many people have tried to do the standard way of doing business, which is hire 10 or 12 consultants, try and put something together rather than a turnkey solution. So what does it look for in 2020? I'm going to look at some gardening sales if I can see it and if it all comes together, you know, somewhere in the $20 to $40 million in 2020 just in garden sales and through leasing and royalty agreements. So let's make sure we're not over-promising here, but right now that's what looks like it's in front of us. That's the deals that are sort of starting to firm up for us. So that's very promising, let alone the royalty we get off the cannabis that comes off the gardens in these facilities.
Sure. And the Cannabis 2.0 situation that is now sort of delayed a bit until January, do you see that as we progress towards it becoming more of a revenue booster for LPs, or is it going to be selective, or is it going to be a dud?
Well, you know, I think there's a lot of bits and pieces to this. 747 SKUs for vape pens have been, for example, have been provided to Health Canada. If that's not just sort of going to make an interesting choices for consumers, I don't know who's going to win with that many products coming into the market, let alone all the different mints and other stuff coming in. I think the best thing for us, at least for Ravenquest, is step back and let this kind of all sort itself out. First mover is not didn't work for the flower market for legalization because much of the quality was questioned by the consumer groups. I think the same thing's out there. I think you're going to see a lot of people try this new product out, but is it going to really meet the demands or what they're going to look for? I don't know. I think they're going to jump around for a little bit. Dud, I don't know, but I don't think it's a big push, at least for the first couple of quarters. In fact, what we're going to do is maybe in a position again in 120 days, if that product doesn't sell, is it coming back as the new contracts are listed for the provincial governments? If you cannot sort of move the product in 120 days, the provincial governments are going to ship it back to you. And I just think that's going to be tough with so many products coming to the market in January.
Yeah, especially isn't there a best before date issue with even cannabis edible products that really, if the government ships it back to you after 3 months, it's not like you're going to be able to try to find a new home for it.
Yeah, at least you can repurpose flour a little bit. If it's just not a product recall, but just a return, you can repurpose the flour. But these other products, they're going to have shelf life issues. They're going to have a best before dates on them. I just think it's something that when you take a look at it, I think, you know, the consumer packaged good markets for chocolate bars and gummies that don't have THC and CBD, they understand the turn rates. I don't think we do yet. So I think this is going to be the real question is how much risk are you going to put on your books of product returns coming in? And I think just right now the consumers are really, really quite happy with the flour, and we're going to stay in that place with the pre-rolls.
Sure. Well, that sounds like an intelligent move to me. So, George, we'll leave it there for now. We'll come back to you in due course. Thanks very much for your participation as usual.
And thanks for giving me some time again, James.